Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. Let's do a return of it. Let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Oh, Mount Biceps. Okay, let's get into this. I saw something come through my social media, and it's shocking, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Because I saw someone, and someone linked it. They're like, you can't judge a book by its cover. And it shows a guy, big jacked guy, who was at a higher body fat, do a standing backflip. And all the people in the comments, oh my God. The problem was the guy was Wesley Smith. Okay. Anyone who knows anything in the lifting world knows who Chad is. Okay. The dude is strong as hell. Decades of being a strength athlete, decades of being a successful strength coach. Okay? Like, as a coach, you can't knock this guy in any way. As an athlete, you cannot knock this guy in any way. Period. He has been highly successful as both a coach, highly successful as an athlete, and now in multiple endeavors. Okay? Flat out. And if you lift, you probably know who he is. I recognize him. Like, dude, that's Wesley Smith. But the comments, and I think this kind of talks about what we see as a public. Because I saw the same thing sometime back, a girl I was dating years ago, one of her friends, who was a slightly heavier girl. She was like, oh, look at this. I saw this link. Look at this guy. I'm just surprised. He's got a belly, but look how strong he is. And it was Eddie Hall. And she just liked that. She felt good about the fact that, see, there you go. That people who are, heavier can be really strong. But she had no clue who he was. I'm like, that's Eddie Hall. Dude's one of the strongest men that have ever walked the earth. But we come over to those misconceptions, don't we? And this is one of the things that I tell people. And I've come to accept, to the average person out there when they are assessing you, if you're fluffier and strong, it doesn't impress people as much. Because then it's the case of, it's literally the average person isn't necessarily aware that being ripped doesn't make you stronger. Okay? And I want people to be aware of that. They're not always thinking of how much muscle that heavier strength is. And oftentimes, to the untrained eye, they're just seeing a fat guy. Okay? To those of us who know what we're looking at, like, look at the dude's traps and form. I mean, all of us are looking at a strength athlete, and we know. I mean, perfect example. Same thing. Look at Chad Wesley Smith. Anybody who knows anything about lifting can take one look at him and go, that dude is probably strong as hell, right? We know that. All you have to do, irrespective of the fact that he's carrying any extra padding, you can look at his traps and his forearms. And even if you've never heard of this guy, you probably look at that guy and go, I bet that guy could deadlift a truck. Okay? We all know that. But we're lifters. And I think this speaks volumes about the general population. This also is another reason even I pushed over towards, I need to get leaner, starting to get abs, get in shape better. Even as someone who has pushed strength for years and years and years. And it said, oh, physique doesn't matter. But it does, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? Because when you look at public perception, that is going to be perceived that way. Body fat levels mask to the average person where you are. How many people will see a shredded, lighter weight bodybuilder and go, oh, that guy's too big. I've seen it. I saw one even on social media once. I saw someone posted a picture of Matt Ogus, who I know. I've met. You guys have seen me do some pictures with him way back in the day. We got along back in the day. I don't know what he's doing these days. They saw him and were like, oh, he was contest lean. Like, oh, that's just too big. He's gross. He was 150 pounds. But you guys see the point? Because he was that shredded, they thought he was scary big and gross. Gross. Some of the girls said gross big in a picture. I saw one posted. Okay? But when they see fluffier powerlifter who's 300 pounds and probably has 80 pounds of muscle on him, they're not thinking always the same thing. Like, oh, it's just a big burly guy. But they're not seeing that big difference in the muscle mass because that's the public perception. And that's something I think we all have to think about. And I used to say that to people. I'm like, well, you know, if you're natural and really lean, people can't tell with your shirt off. But if you're carrying a bunch of extra fat, you still don't necessarily look fit with the shirt on, do we? And I used to say, well, you know, if as long as you're decent, if you're 15, 16% body fat and you carry a certain amount of muscle and strength, you're gonna look. But we come over to why are you looking good? Because you're carrying all that muscle and you're at an acceptable body fat. Okay, you're at a healthy body fat, because I mean 15, even 18% is considered healthy medically. That's medical, especially if you work out. Okay? But they're at a healthy body fat with a significant amount of muscle. That's why they're able to lift those weights. Okay? And therein is the point, though, isn't it? It's all still about that perception. And I think, in a way, it's almost a sad state of affairs that when you see someone like Chad do a backflip, considering the ridiculous amounts of decades of smart, hard work the man has put in. Okay, the level of athletic accomplishments that this man has, for him to then display that, and the response by dozens of people, if not hundreds, was, well, you can't judge a book by its cover. But do you guys see the implication there? They didn't see the cover those of us in the lifting world see, are they? Because all of us as a lifter, like I said, we look at him and do, that dude's a tank. No doubt in your mind. But to the average person, that's not what they're seeing. They are not seeing an athlete purely because he's not lean. And when they see a really lean person, they're big and jacked. That's the reality. And whether that's right or wrong, let's just be honest, that is going to be the public perception, particularly when we live in a society where we have an obesity crisis. It's going to just simply be less impressive to people if you look like an obese person who lifts a little bit. It's just in terms of public perception. And that is what it is. Right or wrong, that is the reality. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.